Have you ever felt like life keeps hitting harder, right when you think you're getting back up? Like every time you find your footing, the ground shifts again? That's not coincidence. That's the test. The world doesn't care how nice you are, how tired you are, how many times you've already been knocked down. It only wants to know one thing. Will you break, or will you build? Not walls, but spine, stillness, discipline. The kind of inner structure that doesn't collapse every time something external shakes. Because here's the truth, no one wants to say. If you don't have a system inside, everything outside will control you. Every trigger, every rejection, every mood, every shift in weather, people, or plans. You're not weak for being emotional, but if your emotions run your life, you're not in charge. You're reacting, not responding, surviving, not choosing. So how do you fix that? How do you become the kind of person who can hold it together when it feels like everything's falling apart? You master the mind, you master the self, and you do it through habit, not hype, not motivation, not try harder energy. Through timeless practices used for thousands of years by warriors, writers, and wise men alike. You don't need more hacks. You need anchor points, habits that bring you back to yourself when the world tries to pull you away. In this message, we're not just talking ideas. We're walking through 6 Stoic habits that, when built into your bones, make you mentally and emotionally unshakable. Don't just watch this, live this. Because when life tests you again, and it will, you'll need more than a good quote. You'll need structure. Let's start. You weren't made to control everything. You were made to adapt. But somewhere along the way, they told you change was bad, that comfort equals success, that safety means staying the same. So when life shifted, you panicked. When plans changed, you fought it. And when the unexpected hit, you blamed the world instead of listening to what it was trying to teach you. But here's the truth. Change doesn't ruin you. It reveals you. It shows you where you're rigid, where you're still holding on too tight, where you've mistaken familiarity for alignment. The Stoics had a word for this mindset. Amor fati, the love of fate. Not tolerance, not passive acceptance. Love. Love what comes. Not because it's easy, but because it's yours. Not because it's perfect, but because it's part of your becoming. You don't have to like everything that happens, but you can train yourself to stop resisting everything you didn't plan. Because the truth is, life was never meant to follow your blueprint. It was meant to shape you through what you didn't expect. You can't grow if you only grow in the directions you approve. So when a door closes, stop banging on it. Turn around. See the hallway you never noticed. See what opens when you stop forcing what won't fit. That's not giving up. That's wisdom. It takes strength to hold on, but it takes power to let go without bitterness. You want to be unshakable? Then stop breaking every time life bends the rules. Bend with it. Flow with it. Become like water, not glass. Glass resists and shatters. Water moves and survives. This habit, this mindset, won't stop change from happening, but it will stop you from being crushed by it. That's the first brick. Build it. Jake used to lose it, fast. One rude comment, one unanswered message, one plan falling apart, and the anger took over. He wasn't a bad guy, just untrained, like most people. He thought reacting fast meant being real. He thought exploding meant power. But it wasn't power. It was proof of how little control he had inside. The Stoics never told you to suppress your emotions. They told you to observe them before they speak for you. That pause, between what happens and what you do next, that's your empire. And most people, they give it away for free. They hand over their inner world to traffic, to noise, to people who don't even matter in the long run. You want to be different? Learn to stop, breathe, wait. Feel the emotion rise, but don't let it steer. That's not weakness. That's precision. Because the strongest one in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one who doesn't need to prove anything at all. You've been taught to speak your truth. But truth isn't what erupts when you're triggered. Truth is what's left when the fire passes and you're still standing, calm. Start watching yourself in moments of heat. Every time you catch the anger before it spills, you win. Every time you choose silence over impulse, you grow. And no, it won't feel good at first. You'll feel like you're losing, like you're weak for not clapping back. But trust this, every time you master your reaction, you rewire your nervous system for strength. This isn't about being cold. It's about being composed. You don't shut your emotions down, you elevate them. Because in a world where everyone's reacting, your pause becomes your weapon. Master that pause, and no one owns you. If this is hitting somewhere deep, don't scroll. Subscribe to Inner Fort. This space isn't for everyone. It's for those who've had enough of losing themselves to please the world. You don't owe everyone access. You don't have to explain your limits to those who keep crossing them. You weren't put here to be available for every call, every favor, every guilt trip wrapped as love. Most people don't struggle because they have no goals. They struggle because they have no boundaries. They say yes when their soul screams no. They stay when their peace begs them to leave. You want to be unshakable? Start here. Say less. Stand more. And stop apologizing for taking up space. You don't need to justify rest. You don't need to explain silence. You don't need to offer a long paragraph every time you choose yourself. Boundaries aren't walls. They're clarity. They don't push people away. They show people where respect begins. The Stoics believed virtue was the highest good, and one of the greatest virtues is self-respect. Without it, every yes you give becomes a slow betrayal of the person you're becoming. You were not made to be everything for everyone. You were made to be whole for yourself. You don't have to be rude, but you do have to be real. Let your calendar reflect your priorities. Let your silence speak where words don't work. And when someone pushes, don't fight. Just step back. Let absence explain what presence no longer can, because the people who value you will honor your boundaries. The rest, they were never here for you, just your convenience. This habit, it builds dignity, quiet strength, and the kind of life you don't have to escape from. Practice it. Protect it. It's tempting, isn't it? When something breaks, you point the finger. At them. At timing. At luck. At the system. At anything but the one place that actually holds power. Yourself. But here's the shift. You can't control everything. But you can always control your next move. The Stoics didn't blame. They trained. They didn't wish. They worked. They knew that ownership isn't guilt. It's freedom. Because the moment you say, "This is mine," you take the wheel. You move from victim to builder, from passive to precise. You don't need to beat yourself up. You need to step up. Ownership is uncomfortable because it takes away excuses. It takes away the illusion that life owes you a better hand. But guess what? It also takes away helplessness. It removes the waiting, the hoping, the endless praying for someone else to fix it. When you take ownership, you stop waiting for closure. You become it. Jake used to blame everything: his past, his boss, even the traffic. Until one day he realized he was the common thread in all his chaos. He wasn't cursed. He was just ducking responsibility. So he started small, owning his reactions, owning how he showed up, owning the things he could shift, instead of whining about the ones he couldn't. And slowly, the world changed. Not because it got easier, but because he stopped giving away his power, one excuse at a time. Want to be unshakable? Then stop blaming. Start building. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what can I do with this? That question? That's your blueprint. And every answer is a brick in the fortress you're building. Comfort feels good until it starts killing your momentum. At first, it looks like peace, a skipped workout, a night off, an excuse disguised as self-care. But comfort, unchecked, turns into complacency. And complacency? That's the silent killer of every dream you ever whispered to yourself at 2 a.m. The Stoics didn't chase comfort. They respected struggle. Because they knew you don't grow in soft places. You grow in tension, in silence, in resistance. Not when everything's aligned, but when everything feels off and you show up anyway. You want to evolve? Then you have to stop confusing comfort with alignment. Jake used to say, "This doesn't feel right, so I'll stop." But what didn't feel right was the stretch, the discomfort of becoming someone he hadn't been before. He thought growth would feel smooth. It didn't. It felt like failing at something new every day. But he kept going. And eventually, what once triggered fear became routine. What once felt impossible became normal. Because that's how strength is built. Not in the moment you win, but in the 100 silent reps no one sees. Every time you choose growth over what's easy, you sharpen your edge. You build discipline where there was doubt, conviction where there was chaos, vision where there was fear. It doesn't mean burnout. It means stretch smart, push where it matters. And when you want to quit, ask yourself, am I tired? Or am I avoiding the version of me that's trying to be born through this pain? Choose growth. Choose stretch. Every single time. Comfort will always be there. Growth won't wait. You've heard it before. Be kind to yourself. But what no one says is, self-kindness isn't about letting yourself off the hook. It's about holding yourself with strength instead of shame. Because shame doesn't build character. It just keeps you small, trapped, spinning inside your own head. You messed up? Good. You're human. Now ask, what did I learn? What's the next step? And how do I rise without dragging myself through the dirt to do it? The Stoics weren't soft, but they weren't cruel either. They believed in accountability. But they also believed that growth can't happen if you're constantly punching yourself in the face. Jake used to beat himself up. Every mistake turned into a narrative. I'm not good enough. Why do I always do this? He thought that voice was motivation, but all it did was wear him down. Until one day he tried something radical. He failed, paused, and said, "I still respect myself." Not because he was perfect, but because he was still showing up. That shift changed everything. Now he holds two truths. One, I am responsible. Two, I am still worthy. And that's where power lives, in the balance between standard and compassion. Self-compassion is not, "Let me skip today again." It's, "I slipped. Let me return sharper tomorrow." It's not, "I failed. I suck." It's, "I failed. Let's analyze." It's not coddling. It's coaching, done with calm, not cruelty. You want to be unshakable? Then stop wounding yourself for every mistake. Start learning from them without personal destruction. Because you can't build a strong life on a weak relationship with yourself. Respect yourself enough to hold the line, but love yourself enough to not cross it with self-hate. That's real self-mastery. That's inner fort. Now take a breath and look at what you've built. You didn't just watch a list. You walked through a map, a blueprint carved from centuries of wisdom and hard-earned silence. You embraced change instead of resisting it. You controlled your emotions instead of being dragged by them. You set boundaries without guilt. You took ownership without blame. You chose growth over comfort. And you treated yourself with firm compassion, not cruelty. That's not content. That's construction. Because every time you choose one of these habits, even once, you lay a brick. Not for a wall to hide behind, but for a foundation to rise from. And piece by piece, day by day, that foundation becomes a fortress. Not the kind made of ego or toughness for show, but a real inner fort. A place where noise can't break you, where opinions don't define you, where failure doesn't finish you. And chaos? It doesn't own you. You do. You've stopped waiting for peace. You've started practicing it. You've stopped chasing strength. You've started embodying it. You no longer beg life to be easy. You ask, am I strong enough for what's next? That's the shift. That's the win. And it's not loud. It's not shiny. It doesn't trend. But it lasts. So next time life tests you, you won't have to scream your worth. You'll show it in how little noise it takes to shake you. You'll breathe. You'll move. You'll remain unshakable. The people who try to shake your calm are the ones who never had their own. But here, you've found your ground. So stay, watch this next video, and keep rising silently. Inner Fort, subscribe, stay strong.